Welcome to Incite with Tendai. I thought normally I know I like to introduce myself, but this time I'm not going to introduce myself because already we know who I am. So I'm just going to go straight with the quote. So this quote, the reason why I thought this would resonate with this episode, because we are talking all about the beauty pageant industry, and you know it's all about the outer appearance, but exactly what does that mean? Because a lot of us would get challenged by the competition and the stereotypes of the persona that we go through this journey. But actually this pageant is about self-development. That's what I believe in. And also it's about finding your own voice, and also being who you are to earn that crown. And that's what's important. So this quote is saying, I've learned to kiss the waves that throw me up against the rock of the ages. Because it is a pageant that is not easy. You have to be strong, you have to be content with yourself. Most importantly, you need to be comfortable in your own skin. But what does that mean, being comfortable in your own skin? And I'm not going to answer that question because I've got a lovely guest with me today. Her name is Zipho Sithebe. She's actually a queen in her own right. She has won international awards, I must say, just to take a note. But also she is actually the queen of RSA, where we're going to tap into it and actually find out more about this pageant, and it's an international recognized pageant. So Zipho, thank you so much for coming through. I really appreciate it. And not to forget, she's an aspiring pilot, may I say that.
Always have to add that.
I just had to add that because guys, this woman with aviation and all these things, I really need to find out what made her decide to become a pilot, and what does it mean being comfortable in your own skin. So how are you?
I'm good.
And congratulations.
So good. Thank you so much.
It's been a journey, hey?
A long journey from...
And funny enough, they always say when you, as much as you've won the pageant, like even if you go through a new one, it still feels different.
Yes, definitely.
It feels different. Yeah. Why do you think that it's always a new journey for you?
One thing that sets each pageant apart, aside from the actual contents of the pageant, like what each pageant in itself entails, what specifically they go towards. Like for instance, some pageants are a little bit more charity based, some have their own practices and their own height requirements and very much things like that. I think what makes it different, also aside from pageant directors, because we cannot forget the people that organize it, the people that are the behind the scenes. What really sets them apart for me is that it's a new scenery. Even if this is like maybe the third or fourth pageant you've entered for this specific pageant director, there's always going to be a different feeling. There's always going to be different, contestants. Even if you might see the same faces, always going to be one or two judges that will be different, even if there are the same judges. You just need to make sure that when you go in, you put your best foot forward, because your first impression is really what people will leave with the most. Yeah. And actually, I'm going to tell you a funny story. Yeah. That I was so stressed out during this pageant, actually.
Really?
I was
you should be a pro by this. I mean, how many international titles?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, there are more than 5, honey.
Yeah, I mean, it's an adjustment, really. Everything comes as it comes, but I still do get nervous, and it was this specific instance, first day, and they had designated the first day of this Minimus South Africa pageant for interviews, and then at the end of the day there would be like a little bring and try situation. And during interviews, I go in, I say my little introduction, I leave, and then at that point it would be the actual interview rounds, where it was just the judges' tables, like 6 of them, and then everyone must come in at the same time, stand with their backs to the judges, and then the person will say time, and you turn around and you sit down, and they start with the questioning. And it was at this questioning, the first judge, she goes and she asked me, so Zipho, tell me, what inspired your outfit? And I had been wearing like a white dress and a white duke, and these black and white shoes that we will get to just now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this thing here, it was, yeah, it's literally like a heel, not even bigger than my thumb, and closed-toed shoe. Half of the shoe was like black, other half was white. So I took it out and I'm showing the judge, and I'm like, oh, put it back on slightly, but it was difficult for me to put it back on because I was like,
trying to get the balance.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But anyways, I suppose it paid off because here we are today.
And there you go.
Yeah.
For the shoe.
Oh my goodness. Oh, because
of
I took off my shoe.
Have you always pictured yourself at the age of 5 years? Because that's when we manage ourselves and tell ourselves, when I grow up, I want to be this, I want to do this. So at that age, when you're now envisioning yourself, did you see yourself getting into pageant, or was it something that just came as an idea through school or through your mom saying maybe you should try this pageant industry?
I would say as a child, I was definitely one of those children that anytime you ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up, every single time it would change. Every single time it would change. Like I remember once I was like, oh, I want to be a plastic bag that flies through the world and sees the world like that. I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a doctor, I want to be this and that. And then, you know, as you go through school, things change, you start to figure out your tastes and everything. But I would say the moment when I thought to myself, oh, like I could actually do pageants, I could see myself doing pageants more was at the age of 18, oh, sorry, not 18, at the age of 13.
Yeah,
when,
started at a young age,
yeah,
13.
Yeah, in primary school still. Actually, I had gotten a pamphlet to enter like one of those small pageants in my area. And I had actually remembered I got the same pamphlet because it was an annual thing that they would do every year. I got it 2 years ago, so when I was 10, 3 years previous to that. And I took it to my mom, and then at 12 she was like, no, you know what, let's do this. And then we got into a modeling school, and the rest is history. Here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
So modeling school does add up because it actually trains you.
Yes.
Yeah, which is
sure.
very crucial because some start from nowhere and they don't get the training that they need. So for you, it was basically like, you know, I'm going to groom myself and learn more about the industry. In that mix, when you look back, what are the greatest highlights that you can say, I am content with what I've done and I'm happy with what I've done in this journey of the pageant world?
I definitely think it's a cumulative experience. I cannot pinpoint one thing where I can say, at this point in my life, I had thought, oh my goodness, I have made it, I am fine, I can continue doing this pageant thing for the rest of my life. Because if I'm being honest, at the age of, I think actually around about the middle of my high school years, I had completely stopped doing pageants altogether. Did not enter a single pageant, was not going to modeling school at all, was not practicing at home, nothing. I was just focusing completely on school because unfortunately I had become very depressed. The school that I was in, I did not feel very nurtured by any of my teachers. I did not feel as if I was learning anything, not necessarily beneficial, but I feel like I was not intaking any information. And you know, as soon as a child loses confidence within themselves, their grades start to slip. They lose confidence in their ability in school and their ability in everything else. And as that starts to slip, everything else in your life starts to fall down as well. And then I realized at some point I did need to take something seriously. So I did actually end up taking up sports. I used to do hockey in high school and I used to love it. I was so good. I used to be in one of the national teams for my school, and I went to like regionals all over the country. Unfortunately, we did not make it to internationals. But that was something that made me realize like, oh wait, I need to pull myself towards myself and I need to do something instead of just wallowing in my pity and sitting around. And then at 16, fortunately, I did actually start doing pageants again. And I thoroughly enjoyed it now. I took it a bit more seriously, but I also had a lot more fun as I was doing it. Because now I was at the age, as, you know, from a 16-year-old to a 13-year-old, very different mindsets.
Yeah.
I was at the age where I could intake all that information that I was given to by my mom and my modeling school teacher, and, you know, put it towards my pageants and actually start really thinking about what I want to do with this.
In that space, when did you find yourself, a sense of self-awareness?
Definitely when I had started actually taking the sporting seriously as well.
That's where your breakthrough came.
Yeah.
The self-breakthrough.
Yeah, hockey and
Hockey.
everything. I cannot, if we talk about it, then I'm going to end up sounding like a hockey girl.
Yeah.
But I very much was. It very much gave me like a new sense of fulfillment, a new sense of life, starting to do sports. And that's why I'll kind of always encourage children to take on like an extracurricular activity. Whether it's like chess, it does not have to be something like a sport. It can be modeling, or it can be chess, or any of these other things, because they just give you like another slice of your life that, you know, school cannot necessarily give you all of that.
Yeah.
Especially if you are someone that is struggling in the academics department. You know, you can gain your confidence by being someone that is good at sewing, or you know, you can say, I make my own clothes, I made my own skirt, I did this and that.
And what does it mean to be comfortable in your own skin, in your own terms?
To be comfortable in your own skin, you have knowledge of yourself and your own boundaries, as well as be comfortable with setting your boundaries with the people around you, whether they know you or not. It's often a thing that happens when you are a teenager versus when you become a 20-year-old. You kind of start to come into yourself, as teenagers should, you know, at that age. And you realize, you know, if I want to move forward, there's certain things that I need to do in order to get there. And, you know, once you realize that and once you intake that, everything kind of just starts to click and set into place.
Piece of advice that you'd like to give the girls out there that want to follow your footsteps, your path in terms of the beauty industry? Where do they begin? What is it all about?
Be content with yourself, first of all, because unfortunately, with the way things are moving in this world currently with the COVID-19 pandemic, you will find yourself frustrated sometimes with the way that your life is going, where you are not able to afford some of the things you would like to do towards your pageant career, or towards any career actually. You will find yourself in a deep, deep pit of frustration that you cannot pay, or that you cannot put anything towards all these big ideas that you have in your head, whether it's for your outfits or for your charity, or for if you want to be a pageant owner yourself. So be secure within yourself to know that, you know, you cannot always be downtrodden. There must be a time when something will give, and never become discouraged with the way you're moving in your path. Don't stop, just keep working towards your goals, because the moment that you stop, you kind of get into that space of like, oh, nothing's even going to happen for me, nothing's going to work out, nothing's going to move forward. And then when you finally come out of that slump, you're like, oh my goodness, why did I discourage myself? Why did I sit? I could have had all of this stuff months before if I had not, you know, become depressed, if I had not stopped what I was doing, if I had not become discouraged or worried because there is nothing happening for me now. A self-empowered woman is someone that can stand in their own faults and in their own successes and take that forward with them. A self-empowered woman is someone that is self-actualized and that knows exactly the steps that they need to take in order to get what they want. And
Get what they want. And if you had to change something about yourself, what would it be?
If I had to change something about myself, I feel like I would be I feel like I would like to be more patient with myself. I often give other people grace and patience to them. I give people a lot of grace and a lot of patience. Even if I know kind of, oh, some people are just not worth giving that patience and that grace to. And a lot of people, actually, I think this could apply to a lot of people, are unfortunately very hard on themselves. And it's unfair because, you know, you wouldn't necessarily speak to your friend the way that you would speak to yourself when you're at home, looking at yourself in the mirror, criticizing your makeup, criticizing your clothing, anything like that. So I would definitely want to be a bit more patient with myself as I go on through the future.
A book by Shayla Walsh, where I was reading that caption, and it's actually a book about it's okay not to be okay, by moving forward and taking it one step at a time. And it actually emphasizes what you were saying, that we are hard on ourselves, especially as us as women. We criticize ourselves so much that we want to give in and give in and give in, but we are not giving that same love and affection to ourselves. And I think it's very crucial for you that you brought it up, that we need to stop, reflect, and feel our feelings and actually work with whatever that we need to work through those stuff, but also be kind and gentle to yourself. And by doing that, I think it's more of showing that love and affirmation of who you are and who you want to be, because the importance is you being and your becoming, not your doing. We focus so much on our doing. There's a limit. What are we tolerating inside? It's your yet. I am bringing the relationships part because that's a crucial situation, because that's what I wanted to also ask in the dating department, which I'm going to bring. I'm not going to ask if you're dating anyone, but I'm going to ask you your perspective in general as women. Do you think women are giving in too much when it comes to love, and not setting boundaries of saying, yes, I will love you, however, but however, the way I treat my career and be ambitious of who I am is the same way I need to protect myself in a relationship. Because we are so protective when it comes to our career and so picky, but when it comes to guys, it's a different story. Why is that?
Women definitely are entitled to whatever they choose to love in a relationship, whatever they want within a relationship. I feel that when a woman comes into a relationship, it is okay for them to say that they will prioritize their, you know, certain work aspects, their, you know, their family, if they want to prioritize their family over relationship, whatever it is that they do. It is okay for them to say, I would like to prioritize this, not necessarily over you, but along with you. And it is very much up to themselves, whoever they are with in a relationship, to realize that they need to find a way to slot themselves into that relationship. Not as if it is like a business meeting or a work obligation, but they need to be more communicative with one another in order to reach that point of, you know, I don't want to say this, but if we break up today, and you come to someone and you're telling your friend, oh, you know, we broke up, what, can you then say, but I did everything that I could in my power to make sure that this person knew that I was loved and that I was there, and they did everything in their power. So we have broken up amicably. There's no hard feelings. We can continue as prosperous human beings that will support each other in our endeavors. Even if you don't want to see each other anymore, you will be civil human beings at whatever point in time should you meet again in person. And I think that is definitely something a lot of people are grappling with or have been grappling with since the beginning of time. It's not a new issue, but it's definitely something that has also been heightened with the events of social media.
And how much is enough when someone has had it and saying, you know, I've done my part and this is where I eat. Because I feel like sometimes as women we give in so much, hoping for the best, but things don't change. Like it's a marriage or it's just a relationship. So where do you bridge the line?
Where do we bridge
just
the gap?
Just a source of advice in that department.
If you are giving more than they are. And this is not in a sense of keeping in mind, people also have their own ways of showing their love. They have their own love languages. So if I know Tendai, you as a person are not into physical touch.
Yes.
That is not your love language whatsoever. You prefer words of affirmation. And I am coming to you and I am touching you, feeling you, saying, oh, my baby, da, 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 da. You know? And that's not it for you. And
acts of service, maybe.
Yes, acts of service. You do need to take those things into account. Oh, my love language. Okay, so my giving, as in me giving to others, is definitely, but it depends on the other person as well. But my giving would usually be acts of service. I feel like for most young black children, it usually will be acts of service because generally in the household, acts of service is going to be one of the main.
Girl, I love that.
Yeah, I know this as well. Mine would definitely giving as well as words of affirmation, and then my receiving is somewhere between words of affirmation and maybe also acts of service, and physical touch. But I think I would prefer, I think I prefer a little bit more acts of service, though I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm the feely, touchy.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, everyone has their own thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone has their own
tapping
thing.
into being an aspiring pilot, you know. What made you decide to push this as a career and say, you know what, I am going to be one of those females who's going to pursue this affirmation? I mean, I'm saying affirmation, to love. The pilot and traveling, was it because you love traveling and you're just like, you know what, I'm going to do this? Tell me more about that.
I do love to travel. I am someone that, I would just dream of going to all these different places. And then at the age of, I think the first time I had traveled out of the country, actually out of the continent, was at 13. Yes. My mother's sister, my mother's the eldest, her second sister, had immigrated to the United States. So we thought, oh, let's all go to New York, because she was living in New Jersey, which is the state's just across the bridge from New York, as you know. And immediately, I cannot say this without sounding like, oh, you know, when you leave the country, the world opens up for you. But, but very much when you come out of your bubble, when you come out of the space that you are used to, and you go overseas, we're saying now, you know, a lot of things just open for you in your head. And immediately I came back from that, and we would go back religiously almost every other 2 years from there. I was like, oh my goodness, I just love this. I love the idea of being able to travel and to do this. And then I would do the Googling, and you know, you Google pilot life and everything. And unfortunately, when I Googled pilot life on YouTube, and I would look for YouTube videos of what it would be like, you know, daily schedule, I unfortunately got disappointed, because, you know, I was scrolling through and it took me a long time to find a woman, much less a black woman. It took me a long time actually to even find a black man or man of color. So I really had to sit myself down and think about, oh, is this going to be damaging to my psyche, one way or another by doing this, going into this predominantly white male dominated industry? Can I handle the possibility that I might be the only woman, not only the only woman, but the only person of color within my workspace? And that's really something I had to come to terms with as I was going through the process of, you know, applying for my aviation schooling and everything like that.
So yeah, and now they're opening space for females to enter into it. Would you want to be a private pilot, or you want to go more?
Ooh, I definitely want to be an airline pilot. I think if I were to be a pilot for any for any international airline, I think
beat me to the question.
Or actually, oh really? Oh my goodness! Oh my gosh!
No, that's.
I think, or actually, let me start in Africa. I would love to be a pilot for maybe Ethiopian Airlines, because I've heard that they are the best in Africa. I think they've been awarded the best in Africa for many years in a row. So I do, actually no, I do know they're the best in Africa. My dad still has the blanket. What am I saying?
Yes, they are the best.
Yeah. And then internationally, I think maybe Singapore Airlines or Qatar. I think one of them, I don't know.
I thought you'd say Qatar. Based on the fact,
I don't know. They just have a certain thing about cleanliness, and I also just like cleanliness.
And they're very elite.
Yeah.
We are going to do the game questions.
Okay.
Game questions that I like to do before we end the show.
Okay.
So these ones you always have to like answer within a minute. A minute.
Wait, each question within a minute, or all of the questions within a minute?
No. Each question within a minute.
Okay.
I'm being nice.
That's going to be hard because I talk a lot.
I'm being nice. So the first question is, who is your fashion icon?
Definitely Lupita Nyong'o. We all know that she is a dark-skinned woman, and I just love when women of color in general actually wear colors and, you know, wear bright things and pastels and everything like that. So I just love her style so much, and how she's always just in the brightest clothing you can ever imagine.
Yeah. And then your top 3 women that you can think of in the beauty industry that you love.
Ooh, this one
you've gained inspiration
from?
Yeah, to get you to where you are today.
I definitely would say Zozibini Ntunzi.
Okay.
I think I want to say, okay, top 3. Oh my goodness, you've made it so hard.
Yes, top 3.
Top 3. Okay, then maybe also Hwasa. She's a K-pop idol from one of my favorite K-pop groups, Mamamoo. And then also...
Is this in the beauty industry? In the beauty industry.
Oh, in the beauty industry. Does that count? Because that's a
beauty industry. Yeah.
Okay, then let's keep it in the same bracket. Let me say Catriona Gray as well, because she is definitely someone I look towards a little bit as well, same as Zosie for style inspiration.
Yes.
And then third, oh my goodness, this is so hard. Why did you make me pick between 3 people?
3.
Why would you do that? Oh my goodness.
That's the whole point of the game.
Oh my goodness.
It's not supposed to be easy.
Okay, Jackie Aina as well. She is a makeup YouTuber, and she's very, very good. I always, like, when I was starting to do makeup, I would just look towards her videos, and that's who basically taught me how to do makeup.
Oh, okay. In the makeup scenario, the beauty side of things, favorite color?
Favorite color, red. I just love the color. I just like how vibrant and striking it is. I've always just loved it. I feel like a lot of people get very surprised when I say red.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just one of those colors. Like I gravitate towards it. Yeah. Sorry, Mom. Definitely anything my dad cooks.
Oh, is your dad a cook?
Yes, my dad cooks a lot.
Wow.
Oh my
really?
goodness. He is the main person that cooks in the house.
Okay.
In fact, yeah.
So he enjoys cooking.
Yeah, very much.
So mom is more laid back.
Yeah.
She married a cook.
It's always a treat when she cooks because she doesn't really do that often because he just jumps to it. He just jumps to do it.
Okay, yeah.
So very much anything that he cooks, because he always cooks so well, I cannot help but eat it.
Apparently men are better cookers than women, eh?
Really?
Yeah, there's that philosophy with guys once they're
when
in
they
the
want
kitchen
to,
there, when the hoya the things, oh, you must know that things are being done, eh? Last question, what is the one word that defines you and why?
Ooh.
Yeah.
The word that defines me the most is daring. As a young black woman, it is definitely a touchy subject.
Why is it a touchy subject?
Because, people don't necessarily expect young black women to be doing things that are outside the norms of, what black people do. Because, what do black people do?
Yeah.
Black people can do anything. We're versatile, we're resilient.
Yeah.
So when I think of daring, it's more of a thing of like, oh, like how dare she do that? How dare she rise above the states of what we thought she would become? How dare she becomes above anything that we had set for her according to societal terms,
Yeah. Yeah.
Daring. I definitely think daring.
Daring. Love that. We are going to end the show with your favorite quote or caption that you'd like to share to the audience. And yeah.
My favorite quote is, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And that is by Malcolm X. He said this very much during the civil rights movement in America, when people of color, specifically black people, had gotten tired of the treatments that they would be getting in the United States, in the global north. And he had decided, enough is enough. And although he did it violently, which a lot of people in general condemn, some of his wording and his practices and the influences and the interviews he had taken, along with his contemporary peers of that time, still hold up today. And that is a quote that I very dearly hold to my heart. And it actually used to be one of the quotes that would be in my introduction when I had started doing pageants when I was a young girl. So yeah, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything.
Wow. There you go, guys. What more can I say? Thank you, guys, and I will see you in the next episode. Do not tempt me. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but otherwise, done.